The former president hoping to capture that energy once again, throwing his full support behind Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Obama touting Harris's history, talking about how she pushed him and his administration hard back when she was California's Attorney General in the wake of the mortgage crisis as Harris fought to get relief for homeowners. Obama also blasting Donald Trump's policies and his character.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala.
Obama going on to say that, quote, America is ready for a new chapter.
My hero, John McCain, taught us to put country over party. And that's how Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will lead too.
That's Mesa's Republican Mayor John Giles speaking on the stage at the Democratic National Convention. Giles telling the delegates that he feels more at home at the DNC than in today's Republican Party. Going on to say that Mesa is on the move because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that they delivered for his, quote, conservative community. He says he wants more people like him to realize that they can vote their conscience and not just vote on party lines.
I'm here to talk to the political middle. I'm here to talk to people like myself that maybe feel politically homeless. People who used to have a home in the Republican Party but have been asked by people like Carrie Lake to get the hell out. I think we need to give them permission, people like myself, to vote for the best candidate.
Giles believes that most of his friends who are voting for Trump are, in his words, quote, holding their nose while they do it. And tomorrow night, former President Bill Clinton and the current vice presidential nominee Tim Walz will be the headlining acts. Reporting from Chicago, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.